Not on a book buying ban, obviously, just on a book smart buying ban. No, just on a smart book buying strategy. That's what this is. This is a strategy. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you about the books that I've purchased since the beginning of 2020. This is the first book haul of 2020 on this channel, and there's a reason for that. The reason being I'm trying to rein myself in a little bit. Not so much because of money as much as because of space, because I need to read more of the books on my shelves before I keep buying more books. So it would, last year it would be nothing for 1 month book haul to be this size. This includes everything that I've purchased since the beginning of the year. As always, I'm going to start with telling you what I've picked up from Book of the Month. First is Sundown Motel. This is by Simone St. James. This is the story of a woman named Viv who worked for the Sundown Motel in 1982. Yes, 1982, and she essentially disappeared. And then in present day, we're following her niece, Carly, who has always been sort of fascinated with the disappearance of her aunt. And so she decides that she is going to visit the Sundown Motel to see if she can live vicariously. And she finds herself in the same set of circumstances, supposedly, that her aunt was in. I recently read The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, and I really enjoyed it. So I am looking forward to reading this one. And I should probably mention that some of these Book of the Month books were add-ons that I picked up. These weren't all purchased in the month that they were an active Book of the Month, if that makes any sense. This is one of them. It's Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is a historical romance, and it takes place in London in 1879. Well, England, not necessarily London. It takes place in England in 1879, and our heroine Annabelle is tasked with finding male alliances to take up for the women's suffrage movement going on, and she sets her sights on the Duke of Montgomery, and so they have a battle of wills and clashing personalities. And so it'll be the first historical romance that I've read since doing the New to Me historical romance video, in which I read 3 of them to see if I could learn to like the genre. So I am looking forward to this experience. Next I picked up the Municipalists. Sure. Sure. This book was offered March of 2019. I'm not sure why it just now showed up on my radar. I know very little about this book, and unfortunately, today's not the day that I learn more about it, because it doesn't have anything on the flaps. This is a beautiful cover too. I like it. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's on the back. It is about a rule-following bureaucrat and an irreverent, freewheeling artificial intelligence that are trying to work together to thwart a terrorist plot in this near-future city. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I don't have any expectations for this, just because it's going to be really different than a lot of the things that I've read, and I haven't heard very many people talk about it, so we'll see. Usually I do well with books that I don't have expectations for. I also picked up the Book of the Month copy of You Are Not Alone. This is the 3rd book by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This is a very vague synopsis, just details a little bit about the character Shay Miller, who is just generally discontent with her life. She wants love, she wants the perfect job or the money or, what have you. And you also have a pair of sisters. It just says the Moore sisters, and they actually have everything that Shay wants. And it says that, Shay wants their life, but really they want hers. And that's all that you know. So interesting. Also, if you are following Kayla at Books and Lala. She has started the Literally Dead book club. I haven't joined. I kind of am wondering if I have room in my life for a book club to be officially a member of a book club, but basically this will be an upcoming pick for that book club. So next I picked up a couple of books, interestingly enough. So I picked up a hardcover copy of A Head Full of Ghosts. This was at the was this at the used bookstore? No, I believe this is on Book Outlet. It's a hardcover copy of A Head Full of Ghosts. I don't have my original copy that I read because back when I read it, I was the individual that unhauled everything. Now I've sort of realized that I want to keep the books that I really, really like, and I liked A Head Full of Ghosts. In fact, I would like to reread A Head Full of Ghosts now that I've read A Cabin at the End of the World, and think that maybe Paul Tremblay is the author for me, or an author for me. So anyways, I just picked this up just to have it, but I have already read this. If you're unfamiliar, it is about a family with 2 daughters, and the story is told primarily through the 8-year-old's perspective, watching her older sister go through something that is either a mental illness or demonic possession. It's a creepy book. It's a super creepy book. I also picked up a paperback copy of Here and Gone. I have a hardcover copy of this. This is by Halen Beck. This is just a TBR book, and I have the hardcover copy, but I think I picked up a hardcover copy either used or at a library sale or something, and it's in kind of rough shape. So I saw this. It was fairly inexpensive, and so I bought the hardcover version, which is just more compact and in better condition and will be much easier for me to read. Halen Beck wrote Lost You, which is one of my favorite books of 2019. This is the story of a woman who is escaping her abusive husband with her daughters. They're driving across the country. She's trying to reach California, and she's doing the best as she can to not draw attention to them. And she's traveling through Arizona when a sheriff pulls her over, and produces a bag of drugs out of her vehicle that she has never seen before. And things just get bad from there. Next, I picked up a copy of Red, White, and Loyal... This is really hard to say. I picked up a copy of Red, White, and Royal Blue. Whew! This is by Casey McQuiston. This is all over BookTube. If you haven't seen this, I don't know what to tell you, but it made its way to Book Outlet. This is the story of a British prince who falls in love with the son of the President of the United States. And it is a lot of people's favorites of 2019, which is why I want to read it. I think it sounds like a cute story, but to me it sounds a little bit, I don't know. I have some doubts about this book, but I mostly want to read it because I want to see what everybody else is going crazy about. So I think there are princes of England and there are children of the president, and I don't know, it just, like, these people, and so to have a fictitious, it feels weird, it feels strange. I don't know how I feel about this book. We will see. Next, I picked up the book Molly's Game. This is actually written by Molly Bloom. Is it though? It says it is. Molly's Game, this was originally made into a film that I have not seen, but that everybody in my family was talking about. So when I saw the book, I was like, oh, that's what everybody's talking about. I'll just pick up the book and read it. This is the story of a woman who ran a really exclusive and elite, like, underground poker game. When I mean game, I don't mean like one poker game, but I mean, you know what I mean. That celebrities participated in everything, and then she was caught and everything was taken from her. So true story, and I was just a little bit intrigued by the story when I heard my family talking about it. So when I saw the book, why not? Okay, Fantastic Land. This is Fantastic Land, and this is by Mike Bakoven. This is utterly horrifying and impossible to put down. This is just a book that has intrigued me from the get-go, and I think I own the ebook of this and possibly the audiobook. I'm not sure, but there's something that just, I don't know. Okay, it's about a amusement park called Fantastic Land. This is kind of like a Lord of the Flies story. It is about an amusement park where an amusement park in Florida is struck by a hurricane, and the survivors are stranded there without help or without links to the outside world. And when they are finally rescued, the people on the scene find like awful things, heads on spikes, etc. Like, it was a bloodbath. Basically, the teenagers that were stranded in Fantastic Land form two rival gangs and go at one another until they're rescued 5 weeks after the initial, or after the hurricane. So I don't know, there's just something about this book that has always like called to me. It says it's presented as a fact-finding investigation, so I'm also kind of attracted to the format, interviews, etc. So yeah. Next is another super popular book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search for the Golden State Killer. So this is written by Michelle McNamara. She's a true crime reporter who sort of made it her mission to actually find the Golden State Killer, who like committed 50 sexual assaults, perpetrated 10 sadistic murders. But Michelle made it her life to kind of like find him, and she ended up passing away before he was captured, but this is her account of her search, essentially. It's a soon to be an HBO documentary series. It probably already has been. People have been talking about this book for a really long time. I am very late to the game. Next, I picked up a copy of Fierce Kingdom. I bought this book. It's terrible. I bought this book because when I posted my most disappointing reads of 2019 video, I asked you guys, what were you disappointed by? And more than one person mentioned Fierce Kingdom, which was a book that hadn't even really been on my radar. So naturally, I was curious, and nothing makes me want to read something more than a bunch of people talking about how terrible it is. So I picked it up. And I do plan to read it. And actually, it kind of made me think about doing a video of reading people's most disliked books from 2019. If that's something that you'd be interested in seeing, let me know, and I'll get to work on it. But Fierce Kingdom is the story of a mass shooting that takes place at a zoo. From Book Outlet, I also picked up The Escape Room. This is by Megan Golden. This is something that has been on my radar since it came out. It's the story of a group of successful co-workers who are invited to take part in an escape room game. And when the game starts, they realize things are maybe a little bit more serious than they were at first thinking that they were. It says that, secrets come up, and what each of them has done to become successful is, now out there in the open. Kind of sounds like they might turn on each other in order to get out of their predicament. Again, just something that has intrigued me. That's sort of the theme of this book haul, our purposefully purchased books that I've been intrigued by. A lot of my book hauls in the past, I'm ashamed to say, are just me perusing Book Outlet or the used bookstore and finding stuff and buying it because it sounds good. This book haul is actually, for the most part, things I've purchased because they're with intent. So next, also included in that is The 7 or 7.5, depending on where you live. The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is by Stuart Turton. It's a story of a woman who is murdered and in her home, I believe in her home during a celebration. And another guest at the party will have to solve her murder, or it keeps happening over and over and over again. Just something, again, this has been out for a while. A few people have talked about it, not a ton, but a few people have talked about it and really liked it. And it's just always been on my radar. And when I had the opportunity to pick it up for a low price, I did. And I'm super excited to read it. Likewise, A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World by C.A. Fletcher is another one. It sat in my Amazon saved for later cart for months. And I was just kind of waiting for a price drop or waiting to have some extra room to buy a hardcover book. And then I found it on Book Outlet. I am so intrigued by this book and so terrified to read it. It is about a boy who sort of has grown up at the end of the world, or grown up, in an apocalyptic world where a lot of people have disappeared, and there a lot of people are gone now. And he said he was living on an island with his family, and the thieves came, and they stole his dog. And so he goes after them. And that's all that I really know about it, and I haven't really heard anybody talk about it, but I just am so interested in it, and yet terrified of it because I'm afraid for the dog. Lastly, at the used bookstore, I picked up Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. This is the first book of the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, which is it's an incredibly popular supernatural romance, paranormal romance. Why couldn't I think of the word? It's a super popular paranormal romance series that has been around for a long time. This first book, 2005, so 15 years. And it's the only reason that I picked it up, well, not the only reason, I don't want to trivialize it, but the reason that I picked it up is the same reason that I read the first book the first In Death book by J.D. Robb, because these are kind of iconic series within the genres that I read, and I'm really tired of listening to people talk about them and not having a clue. So it is my goal to expose myself to the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, like the In Death series with Eve Dallas. Black Dagger Brother, these are vampires, by the way. It's a vampire, and it way predates. Does it? Does it way predate? Was it written on the heels of Twilight? No, it predates Twilight. Take that, Stephanie Meyer. I had to do a little bit of mental math there. That was fun. But yes, it's about vampires. It takes place in New York. Don't know what I'm going to think of it, but we'll see. Like I said, it's iconic, so I have to read it. And the other book that I picked up is Prey by Michael Crichton, also picked up on purpose. I am reading this book at the suggestion of Angel over at Jurassic Reads. She is a huge Michael Crichton fan, and I recently said to her, hey, I've never read Michael Crichton, but it's not because I don't want to. So tell me which Michael Crichton book you would suggest for me. She suggested Prey because of my love of techno thrillers, so here we are. I promised her that I would read this in the month of March, and I would let her know what I thought of it. So if you have a chance, go check out Angel's channel. Again, that's Jurassic Reads, and I'll be letting you know soon what I thought of Prey. So that's it. Those are the books for the most part. Okay, I might have picked up a couple of extra ones or whatever that, no, I'm not going to say it's not worth mentioning, but it's late. I don't want this video to be 7,000 years long. So, um, those are the highlights. And yeah, like I said, pretty much every one of those books was purchased with a specific intent because it is a book that I knew of and that I wanted to read. And no more of this just picking up things because I need to be buying books, because that's got to stop. All right, if you have any questions about the books that I mentioned, feel free to ask me those down in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any experience with these books, whether or not you think that I will like them, and if there's something out there that you would like me to read, let me know, or a video idea that you think you'd like me to film, including, but not limited to, reading people's most disliked books of 2019. If you'd like to see that, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.